But first, I've been lukewarm from day one when I first heard about plans for a taxpayer-funded renovation rescue. Well, now I've had a good look at the detail announced today and my reservations have only grown. It might sound like money for nothing. A $25,000 gift from Scott Morrison to do up your house or build a new one. But the devil's in the detail, and of course, nothing is ever free. Every dollar spent climbing out of this COVID hole has to be paid back in full and then some. Now, I'm alive to what the coalition is trying to do here. In every crisis, the first instinct of government is to do something. But sometimes the best instinct is not to act, but to think. Because political history is littered with policy disasters that all seemed like a good idea at the time. Kevin Rudd's disastrous home installation scheme, grocery watch, fuel wash, cash for clunkers, could go on all night. And while I've no doubt that in the years ahead, the Morrison government will rightly earn praise for how it's handled the health aspects of this crisis, I'm far from convinced that history will be as kind about the restrictions and the billions in new payments, all designed to get us through the forced economic consequences of a health Armageddon that never was. Like the double dole, that will be very, very hard to ever end. The employment subsidies that have cut the pay of breadwinners, for example, but given 2/3 of young casuals more take-home pay now than they ever had before this crisis. Like the billions in free childcare and the plethora of other grants to business too. And now the latest big spend, today's HomeBuilder package on top of JobSeeker, JobKeeper and the JobMaker packages. Indeed, I have to say, sometimes you think more work goes into thinking up the names than actually the detail of the packages themselves. And this is what I mean. There are two strands, excuse me, to today's HomeBuilder announcement. One set of rules around building a new home and another set of rules related to renovating an existing one. Now, both, if you qualify, will entitle you to a $25,000 grant from the taxpayer. It's a cash grant. Let's have a look at the detail. Well, the scheme can't be used, firstly, for an investment property, either the renovation part or the new build component. You can only access the grant if it's your principal place of residence. I agree with that. Let's have a look at the rules around the new home build component. Well, you can only get $25,000 in terms of the home builder grant if your home's value, and that's house and land combined, is under $750,000. Problem is, that rules out Sydney, where the median house price is now $1.1 million. Melbourne, where the median price is over $900,000. Even Canberra too, where it's now $788,000. Now, the rest of our capital cities, sure, they all have a median value below $750,000. That's the threshold of HomeBuilder. But as it's constructed now, this scheme rules out our three most populous cities. So that's 10.7 million Australians in population terms who can't get this or won't get this going on the value of homes. Now, to get the new grant, you can't earn as an individual more than $125,000, or if you're a couple, it's $200K. You have to use a licensed builder. You have to sign the contract between now and December, and once it's signed, everything's got to start within 3 months. How easy will it be, do you think, to get the usual council approvals needed to build within this deadline? Well, good luck if you're in a city, we all know that. Probably a bit easier in a regional area. Now, let's look at the renovation part of today's announcement, because I think that's the one that worries me the most, and here's why. To get the same $25,000 cash grant from the taxpayer, the same income test applies. $125K as an individual, as I said, $200K for a couple, fine, all that's fine. The home you want to renovate, in this respect, gets a higher cap, $1.5 million, so better here already for people living in Melbourne, Sydney or Canberra. But here's the rub. To get the $25,000 cash taxpayer payment, your renovation has to cost at least $150,000. That's your money, but not more than $750,000. Now, who does the government think earns less than $125K per annum, but has a spare, $150,000 plus floating around right now in the middle of this crisis to throw at a renovation that must get done before Christmas? Now, what family on that sort of income has that sort of money under the bed or set aside for a rainy day or a reno? A renovation too with a minimum cost like that, over $150,000, that's a substantial job. Now, it'll likely mean council approvals, draftsmen if not architects, plus you've got to find a builder, you've got to set the contract up, you've got to sign it, all within a matter of months. That's not reality. When the people who write these policies seriously talk about a Canberra bubble, but it gets worse. Given 5 million Australians right now are on some sort of government welfare to make ends meet because of the shutdown, if they've got $150K lying around, that's one thing. If they haven't, do you really think a bank is going to lend someone on welfare or government support that sort of money at the moment? And anyone, I can tell you, who's been through the mortgage process lately, after the Hayne Royal Commission, well, it's gotten harder to get access to funds than ever before. Now, this scheme also has worries. What about someone getting a quote? Because it's all paid at the start of the process, not when the inspection's done and the house is built or the renovation's been assessed to have been done within cost. What about getting a quote? Picking up the grant and then later on, when no one's checking, deciding, you and the builder, that you're not going to do all the things you said you'd do. You've got the money anyway. You might just do up the bathroom and pocket the rest. Now, in terms of limiting rorts, this policy would be a whole lot safer for taxpayers if it was limited to just new homes and not renovations. It would stipulate a whole lot more if it was just no income caps. If you want to stimulate people getting out there and spending, take away the income cap and at least match the home value thresholds with median house prices in our big cities. Or perhaps even just do it via a GST waiver rather than cash. Again, that's better for the taxpayer. Now, to be fair, I don't think this scheme will be Pink Back's Mark II because in this case, you've got to use a licensed builder. But I'll be very, very surprised if there's not some rorting. And given all these unrealistic rules that I've gone through tonight, I can't see how it will generate the extra 27,000 construction projects the government says it will. Why not just get those who are going to renovate anyway to bring their renovations into play and get the free cash? And for everybody else, we're doing it tough at the moment. I can't see how it'll make much difference. I really wish today's announcement had been about government getting out of the way and letting business get back to work without restrictions, rather than just another cash splash and another gimmicky name. This is the problem right at the moment.